Hi everyone, this is Cameron with the Burnside team at Keller Williams Real Estate. This is our Thanksgiving edition. So close to the time you're getting this email, it should be Thanksgiving. So I want to wish everybody happy Thanksgiving and hope you have a great time with the people that you care about. So on today's call, we're going to do two things. One is that I want to remind you, speaking of Thanksgiving, our client appreciation event that we're going to be doing on December 9th. It's pictures with Santa Claus and refreshments. We're going to have donuts, hot chocolate, some other fun little things while we do that. If you haven't had a chance to register, make sure you do that right away. There's going to be a link included with this email. So get that done because we do need to get tickets in advance. We're covering the charge for that. We just want to make sure that we know a head count ahead of time. So that's the first part. Second part is in the email today, we want to discuss 3 mistakes that cost sellers a lot of money when they go to sell their house, in really not in just today's market, but really in any market. So the first one is, and this is a basic one, but we see people screw this up all the time, pricing a house correctly. So here are a couple different things I'll hear from people when we're going to sell their house. They'll say, well, I'd like to start high, I can always come down lower. One of the biggest fallacies in all of real estate, when you do that, or when you misprice a property and you're too high, yes, you can come down, but especially right now in today's market, in today's environment, the longer your house sits on the market, statistically, the less it will sell for. Simple way to think about that. You're looking around, you're looking at houses, you find a house that you say, boy, that seems priced perfectly, but it's been on the market for 3 months. First thing that comes to someone's mind is what's wrong with it? Why hasn't somebody else paid that price, even though it seems like a great price? And more often than not, what's happened is that house has started out at a higher price and then eventually has made its way down to that correct price based on everything else that's around it. But now it's got market wear is the term that we use. So when you're pricing, be very careful. If you overprice it, you will hurt your end sales price after everything is said and done. The second thing is disclosing things correctly or incorrectly is how that's done. So when you're selling a home, in many contracts regarding real estate, when you're buying a house here in Utah, there is a section there that says you as a seller are going to disclose anything you know or don't know about the property. This gets a lot of people because they're not quite sure, well, what do I need to disclose? Should I disclose this thing that happened 10 years ago? Should I disclose something that a previous seller told me that happened while he or she owned it? What should I disclose or not disclose? And when I work with sellers, I go through a process, and above all, I say make sure that you are disclosing anything that is even potentially related to the sections in this document called seller's disclosures. So when we work with individuals, we have it's a long page document. It's about 16 pages. Goes through and answers all the questions. Have you ever had a flood in the house? Have you ever filed an insurance claim? Have you ever had any boundary line issues with neighbors? All these different things are allowing a buyer and a seller to come to an agreement to understand what the seller knows about that property. This avoids potential legal issues down the road, potential lawsuits, and also just creates a better relationship with that buyer and seller. So when you're selling a house, make sure you understand the difference between what you should and shouldn't disclose. Always err on the side of caution and make sure that you're telling people everything that you can about the property. And then the third one I'll say today, and this one is obviously from my bias opinion, it is going it alone, not using real estate professionals. So especially in today's market where we're telling people, look, we're in a very different atmosphere than what we have been the last couple of years. Year over year, we're about 5% down as far as our values go, and that's because of what's been happening with interest rates. Inventory has been getting a little bit higher, but we're still in a shortage. So there are more people not understanding the dynamics of our market that we've seen in a really long time. You have 2-1 buy downs. How does that affect it? What should you do as far as people and protecting earnest money? Watching deadlines. I mean, there are literally hundreds of little nuances to each contract, dates you have to understand, technical jargon that you need to make sure that you're aware of. And so when people go it alone, it is really opening up the door to either leaving money on the table or making a costly mistake that's going to cost them potentially thousands or tens of thousands of dollars in the long run. So by all means, I'm not saying you can't sell a house by yourself, but I've seen more often than not, having been in the business for 20 years now, that when people do that, they're really risking something that is probably their biggest investment in their life. So if you're thinking about selling a house or a property, give me a call. Let's just talk about what options are, what that might look like, and how we might be able to help you out. So looking forward to seeing you at our client appreciation event, and if there's anything else I can do, let me know. And if nothing else, and if I don't see you, have a very happy Thanksgiving. Take care.